The only thing that I follow it up by thinking is, how do I really get money? Because the thought is, the more money you get, the more financially independent you are. But it's not true. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Unfoldlearning podcast. I'm here with a new episode, and today's topic is a bit personal. Well, to be honest with you, I've been thinking about financial independence for a long time now. Two big things that I picked up or that I realized that I would want to share with you is, number one, how do we have or share our relationship with money? And number two, getting wealthy is not the only thing that will help you with financial independence. It is actually the other aspect, which is far, far more important, and that is staying wealthy. So it's really getting wealthy versus staying wealthy, which we are going to unfold for the next few minutes. So stay tuned. Many of us dream of hitting it big, making it rare and living the high life. And sure, getting wealthy is an exhilarating ride. But here's the catch. Keeping that wealth is a whole different ballgame, and it's a beginning of a new challenge altogether. And therefore, it is important for us to unfold the aspects of why is it really imperative for us to think about staying wealthy versus getting wealthy. 40% of companies successful enough to become publicly traded lost effectively all of their value over time. Why? Because they couldn't withstand the uncertainties or were in a hurry to make as much money as possible. Many psychological studies allied to the relationship of humans with money have stated that many don't understand, or a majority of us as humans don't understand, that getting money is one thing and keeping it is another. And it requires a mindset shift to really understand this better. This very thought, to be honest, challenged me deep with it, because what it exposed me to was something which nobody has ever taught me or told me. And I had no clue that this is a way to think as well. And in many ways, as I unfolded these aspects one at a time, I started to know more about myself in the context of money and how I really understand money. Additionally, we don't realize this, but this is a fact. The way we look at money, the way we think about money, and the decisions that we take with money is also a function, or rather, or perhaps influenced basis the culture that we come from and the societal norms that we are surrounded with. So when I learned about this, I realized that a lot of aspects were preconditioned notions that were really resisting me to think of money from a different perspective. And the culture that I represent and the societal norms that I set myself in has played a huge role in the way I look at money, in the way I take decisions with my money. And with all of this, the pain point for me, whenever I spoke to different people about money, those who don't understand it yet and those who are in the process and those who have really done well for themselves, is the fact that everybody said that, oh, I wish I had known this before about money. I would have done things differently. I would have been in a different place. So stay tuned. Let's think about it for a moment. You have climbed the mountain of success, but what happens next? You can't afford to rest on your laurels. You need to think like Michael Wattis, head of Sequoia Capital, who once said, they are a successful company because they as a team have always been afraid of going out of business. He said that they assumed tomorrow won't be like yesterday. We can't be complacent and can't assume that yesterday's success translates into tomorrow's good future. But it is Tim Warren Buffett, for example. I'm assuming that everybody knows him. He did not get carried away with debt. He did not panic during the times of crisis, and he did not attach himself to the passing trends. Instead, he focused on the long game. So the question is, and something that I wondered, and I'm assuming you are wondering as well, is why don't we really value staying wealthy? Why is it only about getting the wealth as much as possible? And don't miss to comment, continue commenting about what you're thinking, how you're feeling. You agree, you disagree. Let's try and bring that collective together. Many miss the point that getting money and keeping money are two different skills. And for keeping money, it is important to have the survival mentality with money. The two important survival mentality are, number one, few gains are so great that they are worth wiping yourself out over. Number two, counterintuitive math of compounding. Compounding only works when you give your assets years and years to grow. A year of growth will never show progress compared to 10 years of growth, which may be meaningful, and further to 50 years, which may be extraordinary and fantastic. This takes the ability to withstand and survive all the ups and downs that one would inevitably experience. On the other hand, behaviors like impulsive spending, relying on single source of income, and accumulating high interest debt can actually hinder the long-term wealth sustainability, which we either overlook or don't understand or realize only when it's a bit too late. Therefore, the key barriers are essentially the behaviors that orient our relationship with money, and staying wealthy is a huge function of survival. The behavior to stick around a long time without wiping out or being forced to quit is the biggest difference. This should be the strategy for investing or your career or a business of your own. In a nutshell, getting money requires taking risks, being optimistic, and putting yourself out there. But keeping money requires the exact opposite of taking the risk. It requires humility and fear that what you have made can be taken away from you just as fast. It requires frugality and an acceptance that at least some of what you have made is an attribute to your luck. So past success can't be relied upon to repeat indefinitely. Basically, you think survival, long-term, and maintain optimism with a healthy dosage of paranoia. To the point of why we don't value staying wealthy, let's not forget the psychological biases and the societal or the cultural norms that sabotage our financial decisions. The psychological biases impacting both accumulating and preserving wealth could vary across these four aspects. Number one, getting carried away with quick wins or immediate losses. Also the familiarity bias. Number two, being really casual about the money, where you have no clue, no track of when, where the money is coming in from, and how is it really going out, and at what time. Thinking what worked previously will work this time too, the confirmation bias. And the last one is the bandwagon effect bias, where following the herd. This is the trend, everybody is doing this, let me do this with my money as well. Not really a good idea when it comes to money. Remember, the way we treat money or foster our relationship with money is also influenced by the cultural context that we are in. Because the cultural context impacts our values and beliefs, and it impacts further the way we see money. This also impacts the ability to take risk or withstand risk with money. The third and the big one is the communal well-being versus individual well-being. Do you think of your money as for your community, for your group, your society, or do you think of it for yourself only? And the last one is obedience, aligned to what your previous generations have done. If they have done this with their money, this is what you align yourself with, because it seems to have worked the last time. So it should work now as well. So those are the aspects. And my intent is to focus on those behaviors that really hinders us to start thinking about staying wealthy and keeps us blinded with the fact of getting wealthy when we think of financial success and financial independence. With this topic, I don't intend to be your guru. I am not your guru. Nor do I pose myself as a financial expert. But the role that I choose to play is to help you unfold this aspect with a perspective, and that would mean to provide you an angle of thought that either no one talks about or refrains from completely. On that note, I'd like to leave you all with 3 ways to activate your survival mindset when you think about money, when you think about financial success, and if you think about financial independence like me. Number 1, don't invest for big returns, but invest for the long run. Compounding does not rely on earning big returns, but good returns are a function of sustained, uninterrupted investment for a long period of time, especially during chaos and crisis. Number 2, planning is important, but remember it's a continuous process. A plan is only useful if it can survive reality and a culture filled with the unknown. Meaning, you need to have a margin of safety. Listen to this carefully. Many bets fail not because they were wrong, but because they were mostly right in a situation that required things to be exactly right, without any room for safety or margin of error. Therefore, always have safety in the form of frugal budget, flexible thinking. For example, it will be great if the market returns at 8% over a 30 years of timeline, but if it only ends up doing 4%, you still should be fine. That sentiment will only happen when you're thinking of that margin of safety. The last and the most important one, and probably the favorite one as well. Optimism with paranoia is the mindset required to stay wealthy. Optimism is usually defined as a belief that things will go well, looking at the brighter side. But remember, it is incomplete. Sensible optimism is a belief that the odds are in your favor, and over time things will balance out to be good outcomes, even if what happens in between that is filled with uncertainty. And trust me, if you are able to apply the mindset change, the behavioral change, and start looking at staying wealthy versus getting wealthy only, you will see a different side to yourself. And when that happens, you and I know that we are not only evolving ourselves, we are not only changing, we are not only being better human beings, rather, we are planting seeds around all of us because we impact everybody around us. That's my time. I hope this sparked the joy and curiosity of learning and unlearning as it did to me. Don't miss to like this episode, comment your thoughts, share this episode, share this with as many people as possible so that the message is out there, it is accessible. And do subscribe the channel. Don't miss to subscribe the channel. I am really wanting to take this further, and I would need your encouragement and support to do the same. Because when I look at those likes, when I look at those subscription numbers to go up, it just makes me feel grateful and it encourages me. Thank you for being there. Until next time, take care of yourself and people around you.